All right. We're back. We're halfway through question 5. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Yeah, in terms of top level puff, sorry, so maintenance came to my door. I had to talk to them about some things at the apartment, and my mind's kind of on that right now still. But I personally, my favorite thing to do when it comes to tournament sets is to watch like sets from like 2014 to like 2019, because what I was saying was that like right now I feel a bottleneck where there's like this intangible timings of when people react or like just decide to throw out options that like is I'm not really understanding it. I have to watch more VODs to figure it out. And so with that in mind, when I watch back old sets like 2015 to like 2018, like Plup and like J-Mook even when he was just starting, but like Spark, it's like I can see a lot of like their movement's extremely clean, like as clean if not more clean than like people's movement now, because you had to focus on it more back then, and like they're just throwing out options really earnestly that like beat other options, and so you really get a feel for like what tools work against what, and like when you should do things just like in general without like all the bullshit of like super high level feints and like and like meta stuff. So yeah, I would watch old HBox. Just when it comes to puff, for me, low-key, I think everyone should just watch HBox. Like I don't know why you would do anything else. He is the GOAT, and his style is the best in terms of being good. You just focus on certain interactions and you limit the game to those, and then you play them in a way that's more familiar than your opponent. Easy peasy. It's not that simple, obviously, but he's the go-to. So I would just watch like HBox over years. Like just watch some of the tournaments he won. I don't have any specific ones that I would particularly recommend, honestly. Like I wouldn't have any particular Sheik sets to recommend anyone. I just think that like every set you can gain something from. Like no matter what, whether someone's playing good or bad, like there's going to be tools that were used that were good and tools that were used that were bad, and you can take the ones that you want or that you like, as long as you understand why, and do your best to just watch them with that in mind. Is Luigi better than the tier list says, or is Rapem just cracked? What do you think? I think both. I think that conceptually it makes sense that Luigi has more opportunity than other characters because of their long wave dash length, and because of the speed at which their aerials come out, and the weird priority and the anti-hit of A. There's a lot of things that go for Luigi that allow for Luigi to compete with these characters at a high level, whereas like, and I think that Samus has that to an extent too. I think that Samus players are kind of lacking right now, and I think that maybe Dr. Mario in a different way. Maybe. I think DK is just like the easiest of the low tiers to catch up with top tiers in terms of like strong punish game, plus like they have a strong route to like competing against top tiers, and so that's why we've seen DK do well. Let me look at the other characters. You know what? I think it's time. So we're gonna rename. Can I rename these categories, please? Yeah. Viable versus. Yeah, we'll just say viable. be viable with ceiling, with lower ceiling, not viable dead in water. Okay. So obviously the top tiers aren't included in here. Ones that are just straight up viable in my mind are Luigi, Samus, Ganon. I think Ices are dog shit enough that I could include them in this list just to like let people know that I swear they're viable. And it's not just because they have a 50-50 matchup with Sheik. Probably their best matchup against any high tier. Dead in water. Yeah. I think I'll just like Pikachu is obvious. Pikachu's like the top of that as well. Yoshi's obvious. Like, here, you know what? We're dropping everything down a bit. Not viable. Viable with lower ceiling. Viable. Over viable. And so, this is where I think it sits in my mind. Something like this, probably. Something like this. I'm like, the reason why I'm quiet is because I'm picturing a world where a Pichu is willing to like get 1 or 2 hits and then triangle camp a like slower top tier. But I don't think they could try and camp any of them. And so they're just like bottom of dog shit to me. Same with being able to get triangle camped. It's like, anyway, yeah, let's go over this list just real quick. The question being, is Luigi better than the tier list says, or is Rapid just cracked? I don't know what the tier list says. Current Millie tier list. I don't freaking know, man. H boxes. We'll see H boxes 2026 Millie tier list. Top tiers, yeah. Again, nothing really matters other than that. High tiers, yeah, that's pretty. I disagree with him here. That's fine. Miltier, he's talking about. So this is his 2026 Miltier list because there's Dr. Mario's and DK's doing well. Samus is better. Samus's have just been dick. Ganon tier, that's unfair. Ganon has a lot higher potential. If you watch Kuro play, you can tell that there's a lot of high level potential. If Kuro and like mech fused as a human, Ganon could be a top 10 threat right now in the current meta. But also, I think has a really low ceiling. I think he's the top of the low ceiling, so more so than Doc and DK. But we're talking like years from now. I think Mewtwo could have a surge and be like right around this tier. It's hard to say where, but Mewtwo I think has the tools. Same with Link. And then like, I mean, come on. They put Mario and Game & Watch in that tier. I disagree. I would say that they're higher than these characters. By a lot. Yeah, I mean, somewhat comparable lists. Current tier list. Again, they put Pikachu above Yoshi, which I just disagree with. They have Samus up high, which I agree with. Samus. Oh my god, dude, the current tier list is kind of fucks. Wait, they got Ganon up high too. Wait. I mean, I don't think Mario's as good as they do, but like, I don't think Young Link's as good as they do. I am so with the current tier list. I don't know who made this. It was produced by the stats themselves. Interesting. Yeah, the algorithm put in here. I fuck with this tier list. It's not exactly what I would do. Zoom in for the fans. This wouldn't be my exact tier list, but I fuck with it heavy. You know. So we got overly, again, we have over viable. It's hard to see. Viable with ceiling. Not viable, dead in water. This is the final list. Boom. Is Luigi better, or is Rapem just cracked? Rapem is cracked, man. Like, there's people out there that are going to push these characters, like all those characters that were just mentioned, to a level that's above the current players, because no current player is playing at, like, the highest level. He's one of them. Right? He's the one right now. It's dope. How do you calm yourself down mid-set, not just from nerves, but frustration or other emotions that affect your play? Deep breaths, telling myself I can do it. Like, words of affirmation are good, and deep breaths, and like just shaking off things that have just happened, because you can't, like, I'm the same way with life in a lot of ways, where it's like, if something's happened, like, maybe I want, like, to respond, like, if there's a way that I can follow up on it, I'll follow up on it, however that is. But if there's no way to follow up on it, or if, like, there's nothing that you can do about it, then it's already happened. You know? Like, what's the point of having those emotions? There's just no point to it. You really have to look at that, like, logically. Like, just a waste of time to have those emotions, man. I mean, deep breaths is big. And, like, telling yourself to focus, and, like, reminding yourself of the things that you've done, to get to that point, and like what you like the level of play that you envision yourself at, and like trying to like enforce that in the actual gameplay. I don't know, different things. Sometimes you just reset. It depends. Is it normal to completely lose track of your old game plans once you start to understand positioning on a more intuitive level? Having the best in the moment neutral ideas I've ever had in the past 3 weeks, but I'm ignoring a lot of the old macro play to my detriment. I would have to look at it situationally, to understand what you mean fully. But yes, that is completely normal, and you're just probably finding new holes in game plans that you've played against a lot that like you didn't find before. And you're like, oh, I can actually just do this, and like that's your own. In my mind, I don't see that as a bad thing. I think that's your own playstyle developing, and I don't think it's wrong for you to take hold of those things as long as they make sense. Sometimes you take hold of those things, you're like, oh, actually, this is just dog shit. I'm like losing a lot more in this spot. And sometimes you take hold of things and you're like, this is something I can do once, and then I have to go back to the game plan because I've just like taken advantage of the fact that I can do this, and now he has to respect it. So yeah, it's normal. There's different ways to approach it, and it would depend on the situation. It'd be something you'd want to like, look at and talk with someone more specifically. What's your ideal schedule for major? My schedule or my ideal schedule? Ideal schedule would be like, in my mind, you get there Thursday to acclimate and go to the pre-local. That way you can like have things happen there for better or worse and get out all the emotion related to bracket, and then your next day is more emotionless. Or if you play shitty, then you have something to prove, and so you like really want to like practice a lot, and so you put a lot of focus into it as well. Friday should be about practicing and like making sure that like you're tuned up. You've already put in a lot of the work, but like there's a lot of people at majors that you'll never be able to play, like from the other coast in particular, that have very different styles. And so like in my mind, getting games with the people that you wouldn't normally be able to get games with is super important at majors on a Friday. Also dubs if you do dubs. And then getting a good night's sleep, obviously eating before you play, and taking breaks every couple hours, and yada yada, like all the things that competitors should do. If you don't know those things, just look it up. It's in a billion books. But yeah, I would say day of, like it depends on your schedule for the tournament. I like to practice I like to warm up by myself before I play for a while, and I also like to warm up against like the character of someone I have to play if they're really good. I find both of those things help a lot. And then otherwise, yeah, just game when you can. Eat food, keep yourself like in check. And everyone's different. I personally like to eat a small meal in the morning, and then like halfway point of the day, I'll eat another small meal, and then I'll have a snack around bracket time, and then I'll go for a big meal that night, and then I'll have another meal in the morning. Yeah, I don't know. Depends. Everyone's different. How to stop discrediting myself when I play well, get wins. Often just like, I did well, but they gifted me this game, whatever. It's just like I have to be like, well, they chose to do those things. It depends, man. I mean, you just saw a video of me like at Riley's House 5. Well, maybe you didn't if you didn't watch the first video, because again, this is part 2. But like I beat Berg, and I was like, man, I choked so hard. Like he choked harder. We just both choked. Like sometimes you feel that way. It's like I don't dwell in any of that. I don't think there's any reason to dwell, because there's always next set. People keep approaching tournaments like it's like their last tournament. We're what spin are we at? Like spin like 140. If you've approached the last 40 tournaments thinking to yourself like, God, I didn't play well, I feel so upset, I blah 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 blah, then it's like in my mind, after 2 tournaments, I'm just like, what's going wrong? What's up? Am I not practicing enough to get the results I need? Am I losing to particular people? Am I losing to particular characters? I need to know. I'm a need to know guy, and so figure it out. Like I think that like you can never, like, if your opponent does certain things, it's like that sucks. But yeah, they chose to do those things. Even if they didn't choose to do those things, even if it's something that just happened, it's like, okay, that sucks. That happened. Life moves on, I mean, I take the game very seriously. At the end of the day, we are still playing a video game, and you can trivialize anything like that. At the end of the day, MMA fighters are still just fucking fighting for money. Like, doctors are saving a couple people a day. Like, I don't know, man. Like, it's like, discredit yourself if you want to in the moment. Like, I feel those emotions too, but I know that that's just a natural thing to feel, and just move on from it, because you felt it. You feel empathy towards your opponent, God forbid, and you're both gonna have to move on. Buy him a drink if you really care that much. Which Atlantic Canadian player comes to mind when you think of each character in Melee? I'm too conceited for this question. Man, hold on. Character comes to mind when I think of each character in Melee. Let's see. God damn it, man. Okay. Let's see. When I see Pikachu, I think of Thor. When I see Jigglypuff, I think of Weem or Mitz. When I see Mewtwo, I don't think of anyone. Game & Watch, I think of Frog, because we do hammers for ports. Marth, I think of Paddy, old school player. I also think of Danklord. Roy, I think of Yomom. Young Link, I think of Toasty Toes. Link. I guess Oathwood. Speaking of Ganondorf, I think of Glenwood. Zelda, I think of myself. Sheik, I think of Kay. Or Kellen. Or Jeff. I think of those 3 right away. Samus, I think of myself, but I could also give D-Lockle. Kirby, I think of myself, but Kirby makes me think of Phoebus because of the things my Kirby has done to him. Ice Climbers, I think of Jeff. I also think of Andrew. Jeff was just the one that, like, when I was, like, first joining the scene, I was watching him in grand finals of events. It was so sick. Ness. No comment. Hux, I think of Luke. Falco, I think of E-Hat. Dr. Mario, I think of Slab Crab. Fuck Griff. Mario, I think of myself. Luigi, I think of Isaac. Bowser, I think of Mario. I also think of Boat, by the way. Boat's an OG legend. And same with Ganon, I also think of Saggy Stardust. Bowser, I think of Parker. Peach, I think of Whisk and Wes, and oh god, there's so many Peaches. TTC and East T, and I was trying to deep pull an icy. Oh yeah, Andrew versus other ice climbers. Yoshi, I think of Frog. DK, I think of Ben Thornman and Mr. Jeff, and Captain Falcon, I think of Berg, and I think of Steelsy. And Dylan Devison. What other Falcons are recognizable in the scene? I think that might be it. Oh, I think of Kishoto, and I think of Marth. He gets a Marth pass as well. Okay, cool. That was fun, for the most part. I don't remember neutral throughout a set. Dude, what is up with these questions today, man? I feel like you guys are just trying to get me to talk. Like, shit, man. I get it. The last video was kind of short. How do I remember neutral throughout a set? I feel like sometimes my opponent will throw me off for a bit, and I completely forget what I was doing that worked earlier in the match. Well, my friend, that could be because your opponent's adapting. Your opponent could be saying, oh, when I hit here, they're not there, they're here, so I'm going to hit here instead. And so then you have to calibrate to a new positioning, and then based off of a new positioning, there's different options that are available, and all of a sudden, you're playing a different game. So, how do you remember neutral throughout the set? Pick the same spacings over and over again, and try to play around those spacings. And if your opponent is like overextending to get in closer than where you want to be, then meet them in the middle, and then play that spacing again, and then play that spacing again. And if you have a different game plan, then like, what is it related to? Is it related to your neutrals? Is it related to your punish? Is it related to the options you want to hit against options that you want them to hit? So it's like, how do you force those situations? I don't know. It's something that comes with experience and like thinking about it outside of just playing sets in my mind, or experiencing the same kind of sets hundreds and hundreds of times until like you know that next step naturally. 2025 dietitians recommend one general tip: everyone should eat fiber. Do you have a meal equivalent of one general piece of advice from NS Millie leading up to KOH? Yeah, I would say that from what I've seen, 99% of people in our scene do options like they will do a forward air or they will do whatever, and they'll do the option slower than they need to, and they're immediately actionable after. Like if they had that thing that like shows when you're actionable, it would be green for a little while, and then they shield or then they do an option. And so I think if you're going to practice anything leading up to KOH, it should be doing one thing and then doing something else right away. I think no matter what that other thing is, so many times people lose neutral because they choose something, the opponent chooses something, neither of them are quite right, or you're right but you kind of miss it in a way, and then you're both kind of in stun lock. And then whoever does something first the next time wins. That's a lot of it. And so especially when it comes to like immediately doing a spot dodge or defensive option, like holding down on the C stick after doing something so that it buffers a spot dodge, things like that, I think. And then just knowing once you've done that thing to like immediately either get out of the situation, like roll, jump, shield, or immediately do something defensive like to hold your ground, like nair in place, down air in place, up smash at a shield, dash back, dash in, you know, whatever. It's getting complicated, but the one general piece of advice is just do something right away. Like after you've done the last thing, just try and do something right away. And if your opponent is like hitting you for that, then what you need to do right away is shield. Like doing something right away doesn't mean doing something offensive, or it just means making sure that you're at least playing a mix-up. How do you compromise between how you want to play and how you need to play to win? It depends. I'm an emotional player, so if I'm trying to play a certain way and someone's like denying that, then it pisses me off, because I feel like people who deny the way that I want to play are lame, and people who play into the way that I want to play are cool, because like all I'm trying to do is interact with you, whether it's a winner or loss in the interaction. If you beat me at interacting with me, then awesome. GG's, well played. I'll watch it back, see how you interacted with me, and we can figure it out. If you beat me because you didn't interact with me and I just got impatient, then it's like, I think you are lame. You're a bad person for trying to beat me without really playing me, and I'm going to play like you are a bad human being. And then from then, I just make it my life's goal in the game to make them miserable. And that means running away, needling, running, crouch canceling, doing all the evil things that like I wouldn't want to do. And so for me, I don't really compromise. I play kind of with like my own moral compass, and I just kind of stick to that, and to my own detriment. I've thought about that a lot after the Magi set where I lost 3-0. I was like, if I just played more Degenerate, I definitely had a chance, especially watching the 4x sets after. I was like, these people just avoid neutral and then play the way that they need to play to win, like through like this like threading a needle. It's really, you know, again, no disrespect, but could have done that maybe instead of just trying to play neutral with her the whole time. But it just playing against Magi, you get so enamored by the way that she plays. It's like she does the same thing that I want to do. She just wants to play melee. She's just really, really good at it. So yeah, depends on the character you play, depends on what you want. You know, there's times where like I want to win a local tournament and I know I can, and I'm like, it's just a job, which is, you know, just gotta get my job done. I feel like I get grabbed a lot as Puff when I'm crouching, and I'm not sure why. So on the other hand, again, it's just a job, but also sometimes you do want to leave like more. You know, you don't want to win a tournament and just be like, oh, he won, and have no one really care, because I've experienced that many a time. It sucks. And so the way that you win does start to feel more important if you care about it in that capacity. So it just depends on what you value. I feel like I get grabbed a lot as Puff when I'm crouching. I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm not crouching at the right time for acting out of it in bad spots causing me. You're probably acting out of it in bad spots causing you to get grabbed. Again, this is something that if you feel this way, you just need to watch it back. And be like, oh. Like, I would write down the spots across, like, one set. Start there. Be like, this spot, this arc across one game. See if you can take that one game and, carry it into a set. Look at all of that. Take a look, see what's up, and then if you feel like you haven't learned enough, go back and do it with the next one. Try and find any comparisons. Go-to food to grab near the Lighthouse Arts Center in downtown Halifax. Ooh, KOH question. Okay. Freeman's. I love Freeman's. They're open till like 2 a.m. and they do beer till like 2 a.m. and they do appetizers. Best to go on a Monday because they do half-price appetizers on Mondays, but I digress. Alexandra's is right across from it, and that's like a pizza place that has really cheap burgers, and they do wraps and they do salad, and I really like that place for like cheap, good eats. Like, it's not like restaurant food, but it's like comfort food in my mind during a tournament, or like when I'm drunk after. So I recommend that place. In terms of like if you want to sit down and like enjoy like a nice meal and experience, the Old Triangle is one of my favorites. Got a lot of Irish dishes that are really good, and they've got like a lot and like I don't know, there's kind of like an Irish heritage in Nova Scotia from early settlers, and they've got some Acadien to them too, a little bit. That might have been racist. Never. Let's cut that out. I don't know why I said that. Oh God. So other food places would include maybe if you want to get decent food, and also oh shit, my vape is out. If you want to get decent food, but also if you want to like do something fun, there's a place called The Pint. Prices are a little expensive for what you get, but they have an arcade downstairs that's fun to like enjoy. It's pretty close to Lighthouse Art Center as well. What else? They do cheap oysters at Shuck on Salter Street. So if you're an oyster person, you can go there and get some oysters during happy hour. I think it's like 4 to 5 or like 5 to 6. What else? I have things to do in Halifax. Hold on. Let me pull this up. I have a document I made a while back. Places to visit in Halifax. And so yeah, Donair, you can go to Tony's Famous Donair, you can go to Randy's Pizza, they both do good Donairs. Willie's is an okay one. If you want to go to like a shitty dive bar, there's Midtown, which is nearby. There's also Oasis, which we're going to probably go to on Sunday. Well, a fair amount of people will go to on Sunday. I don't know if I'm going to go, but a fair amount of people will go. So that's a good place. There's a karaoke bar right across the street from it on Spring Garden. It's like a 10-15 minute for the walk. And the local is like an awesome bar to go to as well. If you want like amazing pasta, there's a place called Ristorante a Mano down by the water. It's like $25 a dish. Best Italian food I've had in my life. That's past I've had, I mean, I guess, not just Italian. A Freet, I think, might still be open, but I've heard amazing things, and I got seafood there. It was really good. Dirty Nelly's has amazing fish and chips. Other than that, the auction house is British food. Pretty good. Yeah. Otherwise, try and get down to right outside Piggy's Cove. There's a place called Bubba Magoo's. Steelsy's family owns it. They've got the best fish and chips I've ever had in my life. They do like a halibut fish and chip. Sorry, you can hear my pigeon. Favorite, least favorite ditto in the game. Favorite would be probably Falcon Dittos. Maybe. I don't know. The more I learn about Sheik Dittos, the more it's growing on me. I used to hate it, but it's like, well, I still hate it with chain grabs, actually. Probably my least favorite is Sheik Dittos with chain grabs. Just like how it should be played, but it's like just obnoxious. It's disgusting. Just how do I get grab? How do I convert grab? Like, awesome. Welcome to Sheik Ices. Favorite used to be Fox Dittos. It might still be Fox Dittos. Falcon Dittos are up there. I actually love Pup Dittos. Not as to play, but like as a spectator, man. Great question. Great question. What do you think is the main thing holding people back from reaching the next barrier of play? What differentiates low level from mid level, from upper mid level, from PR, from top 100? Oh god. I think that there's like a lot of tangible things. I think that like low level, you're figuring out like how to move. You're figuring out how to like move and then do one option, and like you're like getting stuck on that. And so like a lot of play is like you getting stuck on these things, and instead of immediately practicing them, you just evolve into like doing the things you know, like forward smash or like shield and then roll. And so a lot of low level play is like people devolving themselves because they can't do the things that they want to do because they haven't practiced them enough. And so like the amount of time that you either spend trying to do them and then failing in game, or practicing outside of play, or like playing friendlies in terms of long sessions rather than short sessions, will determine how quickly you get better. Right above that is like you know all these things, and now you're like figuring out like how do I hit opponent with these things, and how do I not get hit by opponent. And so like you're figuring out all of like what like base neutral is in terms of like throwing something out in place versus at your opponent, or like running away and then hitting them. And you don't really know what any of that means, but you're figuring it out. And there's like all these like glaring weaknesses, like you're dog shit at recovering, you're dog shit at playing against crouch cancel. And then like mid to upper mid level is you fill in those holes like one after another, like either through play or through like studying the spots. You just like slowly start to fill those holes in one after another. You get upper mid level. Actually, sorry, like that whole tangible line of what I'm describing is like all the way to PR. You like start to fill in those holes, whatever. Now you're PR, like, and then once you get PR, like the difference between that and top 100 is like you have most of the holes filled out. Like, how does what you do influence how your opponent sees you, and how does what you like your opponent do influence how you see them? Unless that's what I just said the first time. But basically, how do you see each other, and like, what's the next step to what you're doing in a lot of situations? And then like once you have all those next situations figured out, and like also you start figuring out what punish game off of those things, because it's like that becomes like your base of neutral all the way to the top. Then it's like, how are people game planning around these things to just avoid them specifically, and what do I do to like change my play so that it's like still fundamentally sound without relying on like specific tools, instead just playing and like having tools pop up when they're needed, but like otherwise just like experiencing threat ranges, blah 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 blah. So it's like, what's the thing that reaches people for the next barrier is conscious thought, studying, putting in the work, basically just playing to have fun. The more you play for the simple reason of having fun, the more bottlenecked you are. And the more comfortable you get at a certain level, the more you're like playing just to have fun, even if you don't realize it. And so a lot of people don't realize they're just playing for fun until they're like, oh fuck, what do I want? Or they have a burst of motivation for other reasons. Which of the general daily regimen be? I'm sure it's different for everyone. Let's just curious what you think someone like Randy should be doing. It's tough to have this be the last question because I'm already exhausted. But I would say pick a matchup. Pick a matchup. Is it Fox? Is it Falco? Is it Peach? You know? But what do you want to look at today? Is it how to play around Fox approaches? Okay, how is Fox approaching? Are they naring me? Are they jump? And then you just play defensively, and then every time you move, you have to like take stage back, and you get hit for it. You're like, oh fuck, like this is where I take a lot of my percent. How do I get back in like the best, most optimal way possible, while making it so that if they jump off stage to try and hit me, it's a mix-up where they could die just as well as I could. And so like you get to work on whatever that means to you against each character. And then when you do get back to stage like consistently, then it's like, okay, I'm back to stage. Now we play mix-up where I'm back to stage, I'm in the corner. How do I play the corner against each character? And you're just going to round out each of these areas slowly but surely. But you have to like search for a Fox player, find one, nail them down for a half-hour session. Like actually like look for people to play them for half hour, watch it back for like half hour to an hour, probably an hour to watch it back, half hour at least I would say. Take notes of specific spots, and then immediately play another Fox like an hour later, like after like taking a little break, resetting, because here's the thing, people think that they need to do something right away so that like it won't leave their brain, but your brain is actually digesting the information it just took in and having it slot into like the way that you already think unconsciously over the next hour as well. Your brain does that for about the same amount of time as you put into it proactively, like especially if you're thinking about it here and there while like during that hour. So it's like just go do something else for an hour, let your brain process it, enjoy what you're doing. Don't like focus on the middle if you're not naturally thinking about it, and then come back and then play another Fox, focus on those things, keep rounding that out. Again, another Fox or whatever other character. Alright, well, that's it. A bit more than an hour, 20 questions. I'm pretty proud of myself. I kind of zoomed through them. There wasn't a whole lot of whimsy this time. Again, it's been a long week. So, hope y'all enjoyed. And I'll see you next time.